Hi, this is Max with Family Piano, and so behind me over here, I got two really incredible pianos. The first one right over here, so this is a Steinertone piano. I know what you're thinking, I've never really heard of a Steinertone piano. Well, when this was first made in 1905, it was widely considered to be one of the best pianos ever produced. In fact, it was one of the longest pianos ever produced. If you can see, this thing is ginormous. It is 9 foot and 4 inches, even larger than your standard concert length grand piano. And sitting right next to it, this is a Kawai GX-2. Wonderful. This is part of their conservatory series. Just a really high performing modern piano. This one right here from 2020. This guy over here was made in 1905. It was made by a combination of the Steinertone company and Mason and Hamlin. It's called a Model CC. There were only 18 ever produced. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys how these two different pianos sound. The Kawai GX-2 is today considered to be a top-notch piano from a top-notch brand. And the Steinertone, when it was first made, was widely considered to be one of the best pianos ever produced. So what I want to do is I want to show you how they sound in comparison with each other to show in the last 115 years just how far piano manufacturing has come. So some things I really want to note for you. So this Steinertone here, this has its original ivory keys all intact. The Kawai over here, it uses Neotex ivory. Pianos haven't, been made with ivory keys since the 1950s. It's illegal now, but it wasn't in 1905. So a couple main sections of the piano that I want to go through and really show you to compare. The first, of course, is going to be the bass range. Now, what you would expect is a 9 foot 4 inch piano. It's going to have an amazing bass, and this certainly does. But what I want to compare is I want to compare that to the GX-2. Now the GX-2 is 5 foot and 11 inches, so there's almost a 3.5 foot difference between these two instruments here. So here we go. This is the bass on the GX-2. So as you can tell, it's remarkable. It's really remarkable how good, these brand new instruments are in comparison to the best the world had to offer in 1905. Let's go through the mid-range now. And something to keep in mind is, these two were made in very different places at very different times. This was made in America in 1905. This was made in Hamamatsu, Japan in 2020. So different countries tend to have different sound profiles that they like better. Typically, East Asian countries tend to really like a really warm and lyrical sound, when the American companies, they tend to like more of a bolder sound. So keep that in mind. But here goes the mid-range. I'm going to go play something on the mid-range of the GX-2. So on the GX2, one of the first things you notice is, it's a very lively sound. It's very warm, very lyrical. And one of the big differences between these two instruments, in past 115 years, there's been a lot of advancements in the piano industry. But one of the big things has been duplex scaling, which has been around for a long time, actually. But essentially what that is they design the piano in a certain way so that the full length of the strings are able to be used. Adds a lot of tonal width. So today's pianos with much shorter strings. Let me show you again. Incredible length on the Steinertone strings. Then a 511 piano over here with the strings for a 511 piano. But due to duplex scaling, improved construction, stuff like that, you just get a much fuller sound overall. Then of course, very important on a piano is the top range. So what I want to do is I want to show just these top notes over here and how they sound. So that was on the Steinertone, and here goes the same over on the GX2. So as you can hear, a lot is added through the better construction of the newer pianos, for a more full, more lively kind of sound. And there are some things really great, about this Steinertone. In fact, it's a fabulous piano. It has its original ivory keys, and it just has an amazing sense of touch. But even so, even with that sense of touch, and it's a very lightweight kind of sense of touch, your GX2, it tends to be a more moderate kind of touch to it. The big difference in terms of the actions is the GX2 uses a modern carbon fiber action. They call it their Millennium 3 action, and it just feels absolutely extraordinary. With carbon fiber, you have increased sensitivity and everything like that, so it makes it a lot easier to bring out, certain sounds that you're looking for. Then compare that over here to the Kawai. Overall, on the Kawai, it just feels a lot easier to manipulate the sounds exactly how you want it, to happen. So another thing that I'm going to go through is, kind of a more quick, kind of punchy playing style. So a lot of times, sound can get pretty harsh when you need to play it fast and loud. So let's see how the improved construction and all the new technologies can help a 3.5 foot smaller instrument sound under the same kind of music. It's not going to be the exact same because that was some improv, but it's going to be pretty similar. Let's see. player's perspective, the GX2, it adds a lot to the musicality. It actually feels pretty difficult to try to get a harsh sound from this piano. No matter how much you just punch at it, it's going to put out a really refined, a really soulful tone. And, overall, I think that that's one of the, main ways that pianos have developed over the last 115 years. They've become easier to control. They've become, much more refined in their sound palette. So overall, 115 years has done a lot for pianos. A lot has changed since then. But is that to say that an older piano is going to be worse? Absolutely not. It depends on what you're looking for. One thing I tend to find on older instruments is they have a really great character to their sound. A brand new instrument, fresh out of the factory, they design it to have the most broadly appealing kind of sound that it can have. And something special with an instrument made in 1905, and it has been rebuilt since then, but it's going to have a very kind of characteristic sound, really good for layering, really good for counterpoint, stuff like that. But your GX2 and any upper level, and this one's specifically a Kawai with carbon fiber, but these upper level brand new Kawai instruments, they can compare pretty favorably to a piano made 115 years ago. That was considered one of the best pianos in the world at the time it was made. So, and that's 3.5 foot smaller of piano. It's insane. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting, a fun comparison. It's not too often that you find, a really rare, unique piano like the Steinertone and have it right next to a brand new Kawai GX-2 in a way where you can compare like this. So let me know what you think, if this was interesting. Hopefully you learned something. And let me know if you have any ideas on kinds of videos you'd like to see me make in the future. So, please like, subscribe, and if you want to contact me for any questions on, a GX2, on our Steinertone, or any of the other pianos we carry, feel free to reach out to me, max@familypiano.com. Thank you very much for watching.